Good afternoon, Balink.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mashuk, and today now I'm going to interview for a role that you are working in a Korv-gorans as a resource manager. So, how are you?
Thank you, I'm fine. Should I introduce myself a little?
Yeah, it would be.
Yes, so my name is Balink and working at Korv-gorans have been working here 7 years, turning to the 8th. My current role is resource manager and production planner. And also previously I have worked almost 4 years by supervising one of the departments here at the company.
That's great. So I have prepared some questions for you. If you are so kind to just answer them,
Of course.
it would be great. So, what are the important values you demonstrate as a resource manager?
Well, as a supervisor, you have to demonstrate quite many different important values, but number one that in my opinion is very important is communication, how the supervisor communicates with the workers and make sure that every order and question that comes in are processed in the right way and put together in such a way that the customer is always happy. So at these times communication towards the workers and also outside, in my opinion, are the most important.
I also think so. And what do you find your strength and weakness as a resource manager?
Now, as I said, I think communication is very important, and I have also worked on that for quite some time to improve my skills in communication. So I would say that today I can say that communication is a strength of mine. Weakness, I was thinking long about this, what could be. It's it would be easier if you would ask other people that what they see as a weakness of mine. But in my opinion, weakness and things that I should improve is self-criticism.
Okay.
That sometimes, even as a supervisor, you can't do everything. You can't change certain things, and you have to just go with it. And in that way, self-criticism and acceptance for failure or small mistakes is something that I could get better at. So that's at the current moment maybe could be a weakness of mine. So
are you more effective in a group or one-on-one basis communication?
I would say that both are fine for me. I have no problem making decisions alone and communicating with someone one-on-one, and that's always better. In a group, I'm also able to put forward things that the company leadership is asking for, but when I have to communicate with people in a group, then it's in average discuss what we should do otherwise, what could we do better, what we should avoid later on. While if it comes to one person, you can name things that you know that are weaknesses or things that that person could change and work a little differently.
Yes.
But so I think like for myself, I'm effectively can communicate
Both ways.
both ways. Yes.
Yeah, it's great. A leader must know this. And how often do you feel it is necessary to meet with the workers, that is supervisor? Every day, or like often a week, or how often do you think you should meet?
In my opinion, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Like the more often you can meet with your workers, ask how they feel, how is it going, anything that is on their heart. The more you meet them, so these things come out and they can be like, you know, improved, changed, done. But as I said, more the merrier, but at least once a week. Because during a week's production here in this industry or basically anywhere else, during 1 week, during that time, it accumulates so many questions and wishes and things that has to be like taken care of, that like once a week it's necessary, but
Yes.
more the merrier.
And I also think that if a leader like meet more and more with the workers, then there will be more gap. There will be no gap between the workers and the leaders.
Yes.
And workers will have like more freedom to talk with the leaders that there is a problem or there is not. Like if there is the way, then I think the productivity will increase. Because worker will feel environmentally home and like more freely.
Yeah, it's very important that like here in this society, the hierarchic way of working is quite normal, as have a leading group of the company and like the owner and like the part owners and then production manager and supervisors for different departments. But as a supervisor, it is important that you are somewhere in between. You meet quite often with the workers. Yes. And try to keep, you have to try to keep a friendly approach. Yes. And a close connection.
Yes.
So the workers don't feel this gap in the hierarchic way of working. Yes. But on the other hand, when it comes to making sure that the orders are done, the production is according the wishes, you have to have that kind of approach that you are still one step higher on the ladder. Yeah. But it's very important how you communicate and how you go towards the employee. They should never feel intimidated and lower down in the ladder. So even if you're higher up or lower, it's important that like you meet in a friendly way. Yes. But when it comes to like problems, you have to show that you are still the supervisor. And you have to still make sure that things are getting done.
And a great leader has those traits in their character. I agree with you.
If not, then they should work on it.
Yeah, of course. So the next question would be like, what sort of leader would your team say that you are? You should like evaluate also yourself, that am I being good with my team, or what are the thinking? Should I improve myself, or what sort of?
Yeah, while I was working as full-on supervisor at one department here at the company, I always try to have this approach and self-criticism of trying to see what are my good qualities and what are that should be like improved. Yeah. And by that, my team, most likely, some would have said that I'm a good leader, I'm a good supervisor who takes care of their wishes and like still make sure that like production is according to plan. And most likely some people would have said otherwise. hard to say, but self-criticism is very important, and if some problems come up with a certain employee, it's very important that those problems are solved on place
Yeah.
and agreed on. And if I make the mistake or made the mistake, it's very important that I accept it and take responsibility for that, and not push down the employee and try to point out what other. So self-criticism is very important.
Okay. I personally would say you are a great leader, because when you were in charge of the production, I would say that you maintained everything. Even the current production manager is not able to do it like the way you did. So I would say you are better than that.
Okay.
And right now you are better, I would say.
Thank you. The production manager, yeah, do you mean the supervisor, current supervisor?
Yeah. So, sorry, current supervisor.
Okay. Yeah.
So what is the most difficult part of being a resource manager?
As a resource manager at a company that is going through such a big change and increase in sales, it's very demanding and hard, because at that position you are in the middle.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that the customers get on-time deliveries of the products that they have ordered, right quantities, right quality, and you have to make sure that the sales department and their wishes, everything is fulfilled. You have to make sure that the production is planned in the most effective way, counter check it that it's actually according to the plans and succeeding, and then the different departments are according to plan, and you have all the raw materials and ingredients and packaging materials at place at the right time in the right quantities, because space is very limited and delivery times now post-COVID, and even because of that, are much longer, doubled. Prices are out of hands, so there is a certain limit that we can order and have on storage. So all this, to have all this under control, it is very demanding, and all this belongs to the position that I have, and at the same time I have to plan the production. Yeah, I would say it's pretty much difficult. Yes, it's at least a two-man's job, and we are on the way to it, to make it into a two-man's job. Okay, then it would be great for you and also helpful. Yes, it will give result in the production in the way of better flow and no product changes and things like that. So the next question is, are you comfortable with the verbal or written communication when you want to communicate with the workers and with your clients? How do you find comfortable? In verbal communication, or written in email or in WhatsApp messages, or just calling to them? It was one of my weaknesses to communicate, and so I have put a lot of effort into it and work into it. So today I can say that verbal communication is absolutely no problem. It's one of my strengths, as I mentioned earlier, and since verbal is going well, verbal communication and written communication is neither a problem. If you are having communication in written form, then you have always proof of what happened and what has been discussed.
Yes,
While
yes.
in verbal communication, it's very important that, like, if it comes to employees and wishes and changes and improvements, it's very important that, like, one has notes afterwards, or one has a good memory.
Yeah.
But if it comes into a problem and it's, word against word, it's very hard. But I can say that, like, both are working fine, and as a supervisor, I would say that, like, you have to have both
That's good.
as a skill.
So, how do you respond to criticism? If someone has complained against you, so how do you deal with it?
Relatively well, up until the point that I know that they are right. If it is a valid criticism, I have absolutely no problem to accept it and make changes of myself. If it's false criticism, that I have proof that certain things have not happened like that, or why it happened like that, then of course, like, my personality steps in,
Yeah.
and might be a little harder acceptance in criticism. But up until I also see it and explained well and still respectively, absolutely no problem. No matter if it comes from a person who just started at the company or if it's the company owner.
Yeah, it's good. So, as a resource manager, you are in charge of a lot of tasks. So, can you explain a time when you were not able to meet a deadline, or you are not able to find enough resources, or something like that? Because during COVID time, I saw there were lots of problems relating to this.
And it's still, and most of those problems are coming out now.
Yeah.
And deadlines are very, very hard to meet. But customers have to be, and they are thankfully accepting things as late delivery or smaller amounts, because they also understand the situation because of COVID and the war and all that has effects on the current situation. But meeting deadline is very challenging at the moment. Has been many times that we didn't meet, but the most important with deadlines and customers is, again, comes down to communication. Yeah. If you explain the situation well beforehand, let them know that we are working on it, we're working hard on it, we try our best, and if case the number is still not what they have ordered, we give them a later date where we would try to make the product again and fill out the order in a later delivery. So customer always comes first, and deadlines are harder to meet nowadays, but communicating towards the customer, communicating deadlines towards production is number one priority. Yeah. Also.
So in this current situation is both parties, like from the company and for the client, both parties are compromising.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's very important that the production also understands that we have deadlines, we have to try to make our best, and maybe the flow is not optimal, it's not effective, and maybe it's uncomfortable working hours, extra shifts, but we are all going towards the same goal. And in my opinion, if the company succeeds and the customer is happy, that should be always communicated toward the employees also. Because from the smallest employee, or like employee, whichever department, without them the company would not succeed. So the
Yeah.
company's success is also the employee's success, in my opinion,
Yeah.
or should be, and it should be communicated. So
And
they should
if
be
you
proud.
encourage the employees enough, that would motivate their spirit also.
Exactly.
Yeah, the working condition. So I think that would conclude the interview. Thank you so much
Thank
for the
you.
time. Yeah.
No problem.